They just did it all at once in a matter. I mean, I turn around, all these people are running, and now they're already in the park. It seemed like it happened in about 30 seconds, but I'm just watching them from the sidewalk because obviously I'm not going to be allowed in there. And I can see up on the hill closest to City Hall, they're just pulling down a white tent and moving through the park. And the protesters now are moving from the street into the park as well. And now there may be some confrontations. They're pushing a guy back on a bicycle, but they're not. So now I'm being pushed off the sidewalk by police too.
Okay.
So.
Is that the first sign that you've seen of any kind of physical confrontation between the two sides, this person on the bike?
I haven't seen any physical confrontations, but I'm not in the middle of this, and the protesters streamed into the park where the police are, and, I can't imagine that there isn't something going on inside here, getting a little bit physical, but I can't see it from my vantage point. But they are pushing people off the sidewalk. And they're making it very clear that you walk up on the perimeter, they're going to push you out.
John, are a lot of protesters agreeing to leave peacefully right now? You said a couple of tents are coming down. So is there a sign that at least a good fraction of these protesters are obeying the orders and getting out of there?
No, I don't think so. I think most people are standing back by the intersection chanting and shouting and yelling at police. But a bunch of them... first off, the police officers came running in from the side, as I described, and just streamed into the park. And then you had protesters coming from the other direction, from the intersection, streaming into the park, kind of to defend their turf, if you will. And now you've got police and protesters in the park together. But I see an awful lot of cops in there right now, and I'm just trying to... Oh, here comes another tent down. So they're clearly here for business. They're pulling down tents. That's what they're doing. Well, let's see if we have somebody here I can talk to because they're running around here. Let me see here. What do you think of this action by the police?
I think it was cowardly, and they couldn't face us straight up, so they had to sneak around through the building.
They had to say that again?
They had to sneak in from the building. They were in City Hall, and they all stormed out.
So they kind of sneaked around.
They snuck around because they couldn't take us in a real way.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if you heard that. He said that he thought it was cowardly and that they had to sneak around and couldn't take them in the real way. That's what he said.
Is it just kind of a standoff atmosphere right now, or how would you describe that?
Well, no, I would say that the police have pretty much taken over the park. They have the perimeter set up so no one else can get in and give them trouble. And they're dismantling tents. Oh, now the police are talking about unlawful assembly. Hang on a second.
Okay, standing by, John Baird.
He's talking, if you can hear me.
I can barely make it out, but if you can relay it.
Basically, they're telling people to leave. They're declaring an unlawful assembly. If you do not leave, you will be subject to arrest. And the police are making that announcement very clear right now. If you do not leave, you'll be subject to arrest. So, are you guys planning to leave?
I am not.
You're not going to leave?
No, sir.
You're willing to get arrested over this?
Yes, sir.
Why?
I have children. I see how hard it is for me coming up. I see how hard it is for my father coming up. And the more I learn, the more I see where the problem lies. And they're basically wanting to be their slaves. They want to work for next to nothing.
So so this protester, thank you, he says he's willing to get arrested if necessary, and police have made it very clear that they're going to start arresting people. Oh, and now they're tearing down this, I don't know what this thing was. It almost looks like a piece of art.
Yeah, are you looking at it? I'm kind of seeing it, too, like this wooden, spindly kind of...
Yeah, it looks like a bunch of big toothpicks glued together.
Right.
Hey, Orlando, come in.
So in any event, I think, things are likely to change, at least from the way it looks right now. Things could change here in the next couple of minutes if the people don't get out of here. So in fact, I think I'm going to move out of here too, because I don't think they're going to make any kind of they're going to discern between. If you're in the park, I think they're going to take you into custody.
All right, John, we're going to let you move to the next place where you're going to go, and in the meantime, let's go to CBS's Steve Futterman, who continues to monitor the scene from his spot. Steve, what can you tell us?
Well, the police are making a second announcement, announcing that this is an illegal assembly and that the police will move in. And we see more and more police about to move in. They have those plastic hand ties that they will use if they arrest people. And it just seems like it's imminent now. I would say probably in the next 15, 20 minutes, we will begin to see some sort of really large police movement into the park itself, and we'll begin to see the arrests. As John mentioned, even though you're reporters, even though you have LAPD credentials, you cannot be in that park either, or at least if you are, you will be subject to arrest too. So it's probably wise for the reporters like John to leave. But right now, the police seem very prepared to move in. It's a very methodical process they're going through. We've had 2 announcements so far, and we just see dozens and dozens of police wherever you look. They've essentially set up a perimeter around the City Hall park here at this section of City Hall, and they're preparing to move in.
Let's go live now to John Barrett. And John, what can you tell us now?
Well, more police officers moved up the sidewalk on Main Street here to beef up the others, and then a line of police actually just started walking the protesters across Main Street. And now they're coming through the park with a truck to tell them this is an unlawful assembly and they will arrest people. But again, the last action they just took in the last 30 seconds was a line of maybe, it looks like 30, 40, 50 police actually, nose to nose with protesters, were moving the people across Main Street just by simply walking toward them. It's like a line of police marching toward them, and they're marching backwards, and that's how they were able to get them away from the perimeter of the park. They basically wanted them away from the park as they continue to try to clear it out.
All right, John, going to continue to ask you to hold here as this is, of course, creating a couple of street issues down there, and there's also plenty of other traffic issues, as there always is at this hour. So let's check traffic and weather together on KNX 1070 News Radio. Here's Scott Green.
Well, of course, we keep looking downtown. First, between Main and Spring, forget about it. It's shut down, and in essence, that's what you're seeing down there on the TV screen if you're watching, and also just bumper-to-bumper stuff. Now, what you also want to be aware of is what's going on in the freeways, and that's kind of interesting. The 101, both north and south, Alameda, Broadway, Los Angeles Street, and Spring, all shut down, so you can't get there. And if you try it on surface streets, of course, LAPD may have a word or two to say to you. So definitely they have locked this down. But again, the 101, both north and south, Alameda, Broadway, Los Angeles, and Spring, those streets are shut down. You'll find a big PD unit there when you try to leave the freeway in that area. And they say that they are perfectly ready and willing to shut down even more streets, so you definitely want to stay away from the area. Sepulveda Pass, the 405 north between Getty Center and Sepulveda, shut down for road work until 5 a.m.
All right, back out there to the Occupy LA encampment where police have made their move. They have told the protesters to get out of there or risk arrest. Let's go live. KNX 1070's John Barrett. And John, now what can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you that a line of police officers just came up behind me. They put the squeeze on right now. So I'm in a small area where some protesters are seated on the ground here in a circle. I think they're willing to be arrested, and others are, I believe, as well. I just talked to one who said he's willing to go to jail if he has to. But the police are still trying to convince them to leave, and I think there's a hardcore group here that just is not going to go without the police taking them out.
Let's ask you to be on hold there for a second. We're going to be joined live now by KNX 1070's Pete Demetrio, who has been following this situation for some time now. Pete, what can you tell us at this point?
We're right in the middle of the area now. Roughly 75 to 100 people have sat down on the sidewalk in front of City Hall East, and they are prepared to be arrested. They're surrounded by probably 200-plus LAPD officers at this particular point. They've insisted they're peaceful, and for the most part they are, but they've linked arms. Officers are prepared to do what they have to do to get them out of here, but at this particular point, no arrests have been made of the people in the center here. I've seen at least a half a dozen arrests that have gone, and we're being pushed out to the outer perimeter at this particular point. Again, officers went in, sealed off the park itself, and have moved through. Some of the officers wearing hazmat suits are talking to individuals at this particular point and are putting them in cuffs and then are taking them away. And we also have tents that are being taken away as well and put onto the sidewalk after they've been searched for personal property or anything else. Again, the officers are moving through here rather quickly. There's shouting going on in the center of what is happening on this.
Pete, have you heard any kind of time limit? We're giving you X amount of minutes to get out of here, or we're going to start putting the handcuffs on you. Anything like that?
They're already putting handcuffs on people right now. I've seen at least 4 people arrested, and more by the minute. And they haven't hit the main body of individuals who are at the center in the fountain on the plaza area here at Los Angeles City Hall South and the City Hall Park itself. When they start to go in there, there's a hardcore of perhaps 100 or more people who've sat down, they've linked arms, and they say they are prepared to be arrested. Well, there are enough officers to accommodate them when and if that happens.
All right, Pete, we're going to ask you to hold for just one moment. We understand that there are some late developments, and let's go back to John Baird.
Well, there was kind of like this standoff and pushing match going on between some of the protesters and police here in the middle of the park. It's still kind of tense. I just saw one man being led away in a pair of plastic handcuffs, so police are taking him away at this point. Let's see, they're pushing back. There's definitely some more, the tension's ratcheted up, at least in this one particular area. They've got another guy on the ground here on his knees. He looks like he's in discomfort, but they've got him apparently in plastic handcuffs. So now they're picking him up. They're going to actually pick him up and carry him out of here. There's 3 officers. Look like they're going to take him away. But again, it's still. Now I'm being told to get on the curb by the officers as I'm watching this going on. But they have obviously started arresting some of the people, but they've also pushed this. Now they're carrying that man away. The 3 officers actually physically carrying him down the sidewalk toward the intersection and perhaps over to the police station. The tensions ratcheted down a bit in that one area where they were kind of going nose to nose with police. But I can't see here now that I've been moved back. I can't see on the other side of the truck whether they've got more people being arrested or whether it's gotten more tense over there. But there are a lot of police right in the middle of the park as well.
Okay, John, as you continue to monitor that situation, let's go back to Pete Demetrio. Pete, what do you got for us?
I'm moving up North Main Street at this point. The area on the south lawn is more or less contained. They've got officers surrounding that hardcore of around 100 people who are there. They're probably going to be arrested on a gradual basis. And this particular time, we are moving up to the northern part of the City Hall area. On the north side of City Hall, there are, again, skirmish lines up there keeping people out. What we have not determined is if there are any tents or any people left on the north side of City Hall. Skirmish lines are here. Coming up behind you, news media. Part of the team's coming through, led by PIOs.
Get out of the way, you're blocking everything.
We do what we can. There are the colleagues and people from the LAPD who know me are sort of giving me a thumbs up at this point, but we're doing what we can. We just come around the north corner of City Hall where there were about 30 to 50 tents. They're still there. The vast majority of the people.
Okay.
The vast majority of the people who are here on the north side are gone. You have police officers in biosuits. They are going through some of the tents, sealing some of them off. They'll probably be going through them for evidence. And there are other individuals who are up facing officers on the north side of the City Hall lawn. I'm seeing at least 2 people who are being taken away in handcuffs right now. A knot of perhaps 15 or 20 people surrounded by perhaps 3 times that number of officers, plus squads standing in the street. The vast majority of the people on the north side of City Hall have left. There are a few people here who are peaceful, who are being put in flex cuffs, and are going to be taken away by arrest teams. In the area in the northwest corner of the City Hall lawn, there are a few more people and officers going through those individual tents at this time, looking for people who are stragglers, who are still there, or people who are waiting to be arrested peaceably. So far, of all the people that I've seen handcuffed, I've seen no excessive use of force, no resistance or struggles by those people. Officers going up, for the most part, talking with them directly, and in many cases, the people just simply turn around. Officers put flex cuffs on them, and they just hold them in position until the arrest teams can then walk them out of the perimeter. To the area immediately north of City Hall on the corner, where you have the criminal courts building, again, a squad of officers sealing off the entire area here. 4 people in flex cuffs now, standing peacefully, waiting for people to walk them out. The north side activity on City Hall, very, very different from what we're seeing on the south side. South side, you have a hardcore knot of about 100 people. Here, I'm counting 4 in custody, plus a few other people, and one woman now who's being taken off the curb and is putting her hands behind her back. They are they're putting her in handcuffs at this particular point.
John, what's the latest you got for us?
Well, I just had an officer. I kind of got into it a little bit with an officer here who is now pushing us out of here. Basically, we were trying to observe how it's being handled, and we were moved out of the park. And as we were watching them start taking people into custody, I'm standing on the sidewalk now on the edge of the park where they're bringing people over who are in handcuffs and sitting them down on the curb while they continue to do their jobs, but they're still taking down tents. I see the police vehicle backing up right now, but the police are definitely taking control and doing what they feel they have to do to get this park cleared out. And as you've been listening, as you've been hearing the last couple of minutes, last 10 minutes, they have been arresting people who have not cleared out of the park.
Pete, from your experience covering these things, from what it sounds like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you would probably give LAPD some pretty high marks for how they're handling the situation right now, wouldn't you?
They've done the best they could in what is a very chaotic situation. They had to move in, literally control all the paths in and out, and they also had to let those people who wanted to leave the park leave, which a good many of them did. There was a hardcore of what was down in the center of here of roughly about 100 people. Some of those have been taken away, and officers have also moved around all sections of Los Angeles City Hall. There have been people who have been sitting in front of their tents. Officers have approached them, tapped them on the shoulder, said, do you wish to leave or do you wish to be arrested? Most that they have tapped on the shoulder that are still here said they wish to be arrested. Officers said fine, put them in handcuffs, and then marched them away to areas where they were taken away for later processing and booking. I have not seen in the roughly, I'd say, 30 minutes to 35 minutes that we've been inside the secure perimeter here, any sign of any excessive force that was used by officers. We now have a man who is sitting down on the sidewalk. He's right in front of some LAPD Metropolitan Division officers, and they are talking with him and asking him, do you wish to leave or do you wish to be arrested? I believe that's Sergeant Brian Morrison, who's taking the man up and is now moving him over out. Yes, it's Sergeant Brian Morrison from LAPD Metropolitan Division who escorted him out of the area and asked the man, do you wish to leave? The man is coming back, and at this time, they're leaving him alone there, but they told him if he doesn't leave in the next few minutes, they're going to put him in flex cuffs and take him out of the area. So you got that man, and you've got others here who you can hear the chanting, but they're prepared apparently to be arrested. Question is whether they want to go peacefully, as most of the people have, or whether they want to resist any way they can.
All right, and what are they chanting back there? It sounds like Occupy LA.
Not away. What they're doing is that they are chanting at an officer who is holding at low ready what is called a beanbag shotgun. That's a 12-gauge shotgun that fires a beanbag round, and he's just merely holding it low ready. He's not pointing it at anyone, and they're just agitated by the fact that there's a shoulder weapon out. And now we have another woman who is carrying a hula hoop with glitter on it, and they asked her if she wants to be arrested or not. She's indicated that she wants to be arrested, so they're putting her in cuffs right now. And you have some of the people, as you can hear, in a bullhorn chanting at the officers, we do not need your assistance in our home. They're saying that this encampment, Occupy LA, is their home, and they want the police to leave. The police are having none of it. They're here to stay, and the people apparently are going to be going.
Sounds like they're getting louder, Pete. Do you sense anything happening within the next maybe 30, 60 seconds?
Yes, we just had someone who was taken away in cuffs, and they were chanting and cheering in her support.